People deluded. Liverpool 4, Arsenal's under 23's 1, and yeah, I've just watched the game, and yeah, they've been on the receiving end of a tough scoreline, and I mean they're at this level to learn, and no doubt they learned something from their fixture against Liverpool. So yeah, going into the game, I mean the last time I watched our under 23's, we took a heavy defeat against Derby, if I can remember correctly. So we've been shipping a lot of goals, and obviously five then, four now, 9 goals in the last 2 games I've pre. I'm sure there was a game in between, but I can remember Derby off the top of my head. So it's a bit of a leaky defence. Obviously, a lot of these players want to push into the first team side and things like that. So I don't necessarily feel under 23 football is the best education for people, but it is what it is for these players. So yeah, I mean, the scoreline, obviously, if you didn't watch the game, you just looked at the scoreline, you'd think we've never had a sniff. But I think the first 10 minutes, obviously, they scored within 10 minutes, but I think we actually started off the better side. I feel Joe Willock, in particular, in the first opening initial stages, was playing some nice passes. Gilmore, too. Saka looked up for it. John Jules looked up for it. We were spraying some nice passes. We were getting the ball around. We had Liverpool pinned into their own box. They really couldn't get out. Now, in the same way I gave Spurs' under 18s credit, I have to give Liverpool's credit, because Arsenal, like I said, we were pressing, we were earning corner after corner in that first half. We had them on the ropes, and I must admit, I give them credit, because Liverpool, no matter how much we pressed them, no matter how much pressure we put them under, they had a stubbornness to keep trying to play out the back and keep doing what their managers taught them to do. And it takes bravery to do that, because you can quickly become discouraged when things aren't happening. So yeah, we had them on the ropes, and considering they had Markovic, they had I know he's not a household name, but is it Davies, the former Chelsea lad, who's 2021? They had a bit more experienced players to be able to call upon, and in the end you can say it kind of told. But yeah, they went 1-0 ahead. It was a good ball on a Liverpool kick. From us it was poor marking, but from a Liverpool side of things, I think it was the number 10, I can't remember, I don't even know the guy's name, I can't remember his name. He played a lovely ball in between our centre halves, or into the space better yet. Markovic's first touch kind of kills him, but he's a seasoned pro compared to these individuals, and he's able to slot it home, and it's 1-0 to Liverpool. And from a Liverpool's perspective, you're laughing, because they were pinned in my opinion. They took them a while to grow into the game, but they've got the most important thing is the lead, and these boys need to learn that it's a results game now. It doesn't matter if you've had 80% position and the other team walked away. It's not, obviously it's about learning, but learning isn't the full purpose now. It's about smelling blood and getting things, get on top of having the ability, getting things done, and that enables your first team manager to have confidence in you. So we got a goal down, and it is a bit disappointing. The only good thing is Liverpool are still sleeping, and we more or less initially score from the kickoff. Essentially, we've taken the kickoff. It's a lovely ball from Ben Sheaf. Equally lovely run from Tyrese John Jules. The ball comes into him, he controls it, and he does what he's been doing for the last year or so since he's become a first-year scholar and progressed into the under-23s. He puts it into the back of the net, and that's why he was with the first team travelling with the Europa League. He does what he needs to do, and we're instantly back in the game. Good composed finish, this 1-1 at this period in time. So yeah, man, and I must admit, at 1-1, Liverpool are still, I think they're still yet to really come into the game. We're playing some lovely football, in my opinion. The only thing is we're not really we're creating chances, but I don't feel they're really quality chances where the keeper's making saves, but I didn't think we're really testing him. If I remember correctly as well, we're having a lot of chances, but there was a lovely effort from Saka. He cut in, and then it was a terrific save. He cut in and he hit it with his right foot, I believe, and it was a terrific save from the Liverpool keeper to touch it out for a corner. And we're piling on the pressure. Don't get twisted, Liverpool are having little couple stages and incidences where they're getting forward, especially down our flanks, because I feel Medley's having a great game in terms of ball playing, but between the three, I forgot to mention, we played 3-4-3, mirrored the first team. I did feel between the three centre halves, maybe it's teething problems with the system, but Liverpool's young players were able to make a lot of runs off them. They weren't tracking movement and a lot of things like that. And like I said, we were having the majority of chances, but you could say we're hit against the break of play for 2-1. I mean, it's a lovely thing. If I can remember correctly, Iliev, I thought initially he's making some good saves as well, but his kicking's kind of costing us, and it all more or less comes from that. They get a throw in, and it's a patient move with Liverpool, and it's a lovely ball in my opinion. It's a lovely ball in behind. It's a lovely ball in behind from the Liverpool lad. Their number 10 runs on behind. gets the wrong side of Chafe, and it's a nice run from his point of view. He's able to then control the ball, and we're in here to paint the picture. We're basically in our box at this moment. He squares it, and then we're at 6s and 7s, and this is the 44th, 45th minute. Camacho makes no mistake and is there to more or less pull it in the back of an empty net, and it's 2-1. It's a sucker punch. Liverpool are laughing. We've been shagged essentially, and it is disappointing because I think I actually think we've played well. I'm not saying we've played perfect, but I think we've played well. Definitely, football's not fair, but definitely deserve to walk in at half time with more than that. But on the flip side of things, if you're not, for all the possession and all of the chances and all the feel-good factor, if you're not taking your chances, do you really deserve to be ahead? So yeah, second half, it's more of the same from both sides. As people are tiring and stuff like that, I did see gaps from both sides start to open. Probably both sides becoming a bit indisciplined in terms of positioning. We did get let off a few times, but we had a lot of efforts as well that we didn't get the luck. I think Coyle, if I remember correctly, had a good effort, dragged it wide. Saka was consistently fouled. John Jules was getting frustrated and having to come deep and things like that. I was actually making some good runs. Another game, probably haven't seen him found as much as I want to see from him. But yeah, man, we're still playing decent football. I mean, Medley, like I said, man, based on the game I saw, his ball playing was immaculate. There's more to that than being a defender, but the ball playing was immaculate. Did feel we should have had a penalty with Saka in the second half as well. But yeah, again, harsh lessons to learn from this game. We're hit on the counter attack. I can't remember if it's Dominic Thompson or if it's Coyle Bramwell. One of them is playing at left back. The ball comes to them. I think Medley. It's actually a good move initially from us, but I think Medley plays it into them, and this is why the first touch, especially as a fullback, is essential. Poor first touch. They then break. Initially, it's even in the build-up, I could see the movement of Liverpool's players, and consistently throughout the whole game, I did see their attackers and our defenders 2v2. I know we're playing a bit of a different system, and obviously these players are told something by the manager, but it's basics. You know, as a defender, if it's two attackers versus two defenders and you're a defender, you need to call someone back because there's safety in numbers for real. And we're hit on a counter attack. I think Camacho again does very well in my opinion, and yeah, you could say he returns the favour. He squares it to the Liverpool lad, and it's 3-1. He makes no mistake. It's an empty net. Yeah, I think Liverpool's finishing has been quality, essentially, to be fair with you. What can I say? It's 3-1. And again, we're counted very quickly. And again, for the fourth goal as well. Again, we all could have done much better. Again, countered 2v2 essentially. Again, runners aren't being found, and it's 4-1, and essentially, no, I'm lying to you lot. It was a counter-attack for the third goal, but for the fourth goal, if I remember correctly, it's a lovely diagonal pass initially from the Spanish lad in midfield for Spanish Youth International, the Spanish lad for Liverpool. He plays it in behind our defence. Oliink is nowhere to be seen. Again, you could say, yeah, we was countered, and again, it's an empty net for the Liverpool man to score. I don't need to explain it all. The highlights will probably be on Arsenal.com, and it's 4-1. But it's a sucker punch because on one hand, I feel in stages we actually played well. We made use of possession. I think we showed intent. But again, positionally, we let ourselves down defensively, not taking chances. Conceded 2 quick fire goals for the third and fourth, if I remember correctly. Forgive me if I'm wrong. So yeah, a lot of lessons for players to learn if they want to step up to this level, step up a level. I mean, so yeah, it's a bit concerning that every time I watch our second string, we do seem to concede a lot of goals. But for the last year or so, I've been saying that the same goals I see conceded at first team level, I see conceded at youth level. So yeah, man, it's a learning curve at the end of the day for these young players. And what more can I say, man? There's really not much more I can say. So it's a disappointing result. I think we started off well. I think we actually deserve something out of the game. It's just cheap mistakes and fine margins is what it's all about. The higher you get in terms of quality, I really don't think there's much more to say other than that. To be fair, these are the few games at under 23 level as a top club you learn, because Arsenal, Chelsea, United, City, obviously give or take, but these sides 9 times out of 10 are more or less winning every game and things like that, so they're not necessarily learning things. Yeah, you could say it's not good enough to really, I'm not saying they don't learn a lesson, and you could say it's not good enough to only learn a couple of lessons every few games, because under 23 football really doesn't serve you. But games like this, for the attackers, creating chances, taking chances, quality on the finish, quality in possession, that bit added final quality for the midfielders as well and the attackers. Defensive positioning, what could I have done to help to avoid stuff or help be in there in terms of positioning? In regards to our centre-halves, runners, all 4 of the goals is because of movement. Especially the first 2, I'd say, I kind of actually wanted to clap Liverpool because I think it was good runs. They made good, especially whichever goal it was, they made a lot. One of them made a lovely run off Shafe. They got the wrong side of him and he was trying, you can see he was trying to look at the ball and trying to look at the man. And it's a good run and obviously it resulted in a goal. So I feel Liverpool were just more street smart and they managed the game ultimately better than us. I feel their substitutions worked because what was it? Forgive me if I'm wrong, Miller or something come off the bench and scored 2 for them. So they got the tactics spot on. Like I said earlier, I appreciate from a coaching point of view, I can appreciate the game plan that Liverpool were trying to implement. And again, obviously, if it went the flip side for Liverpool, we could sit here and say, the manager or the player should have known when to change certain things. But by the flip side, I liked how, especially in the first half, first 20, arguably, where Arsenal were putting them under sustained amounts of pressure, they really couldn't get out of their own box. They still remained loyal to their philosophy. They still tried to play out at the back. They still tried to be patient. I felt their midfielders and fullbacks in particular still showed a willingness to be brave in possession, and probably a big part as they won today. I think Camacho, I wouldn't say he played amazing, but there was just little bits of movements and stuff like that. He showed you that he's on a different sort of level to a couple of his peers. I felt he gave our fullbacks a tough time. I feel, like I said, man, I feel Medley's he's a wonderful centre-half to watch when it's in terms of ball playing. And if he could just polish a few edges, then he might have a future at this club. I liked how Gilmour played as well. I think Gilmour, again, he's never going to grab headlines based on how he plays because he's not doing 1,000 step-overs and stuff. But just the little things. There was one moment in the first half, I think there was 2 Liverpool players and it was him. And I wouldn't say he's the last man, but he was in a position where if he lost that ball, it could have been a bit peak for everybody. It's a lovely first touch from him, and then he passed it out wide. I think Willock, before he came off, forgive me if I'm wrong, and he didn't come off, I'm so sure he did, showed little good touches. I think Coyle showed good touches. I think quite a few players showed good little touches and neat little glimpses of quality, but ultimately it wasn't enough. Like if you look in the 18th minute, there was one lovely move. We started from the right-hand side down to the left, forgive me if I'm wrong, and it broke down, but there were some good bits of play. But fine margins, like I said, people, and yeah. On that note, there's really not much more to say. It's 4 sloppy goals. If you watched the game, you would have. If you didn't watch the game, better yet, you would have just thought that Liverpool just completely crushed Arsenal to a degree. That's true. But if you watched it, then you'd see arguably was in the game for the first, dare I say, first half an hour. To be fair, I think we lost the game. You could see we was going to lose this game within the first 10 minutes of the second half because it did look like we started to get tired. But really and truly, we only lost this game because of 4 avoidable goals. Like none of the goals really and truly, if I look at it from an Arsenal fan point of view, could I say that it's a thing where you clap Liverpool and say there's nothing you could do? I say that. Having said that, the first 2 goals, I sat there and I thought, okay, cool. And definitely the first and the last goal, I thought because of the balls played, cool. But by the same logic, they're actually avoidable. In fact, the first goal is probably the only one I'll concede these things happen. It was a good ball, completely outdone, bamboozled the centre halves essentially. But yeah, man, what can you do? We move on. The good thing is, I wouldn't say in fact, it is meaningless essentially at this level results. That's the good thing and the bad thing. That all they need to do is learn these lessons, implement it when they're back in training, and then apply it when it's the next game week. And hopefully these things don't happen again. It is what it is, man. And on that note, guys, deluded. Liverpool's under 23's 4, Arsenal's under 23's 1. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.